Okay folks, we're back. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to set up the top of the niche, and how I'm going to do that I'm going to show you. And then I'm going to put the next tile on. I'm going to put this tile on beside the niche on this side, and then I can continue on with the other half, or with the other full tile. And then there's a piece that goes, then there's a piece that goes at the wall. So anyway, I switched my pattern around, so I started out with a full, a half, a full, a half. This one here, I'm going to start out with, with a half, a full, a half, a full, and then I switched the border so it's upside down, and I started out with a half again, or a full again, and then a half, and then a full, and then a half. Now that's preference. You can do either one. I could have made it so what I would normally do sometimes would be that one there. I would keep the same pattern going, and so this would be the grip line here instead of the full tile. This time I changed it up, made it different. I think I like it better. It's a large format tile. It's going to look like it's less grout lines. So that's what I'm kind of going with. But if I decided that I wanted to have it the other way around, I could have cut an L shape into the tile, and it would have been not a big deal, and then I had a full one sitting above it. So, and then for the piece inside the niche, really, if I didn't want to have two small pieces or two half pieces of tile there inside the niche, all I have to do is go out and I cut a grout line in the tile. So I only go down about a quarter of the way down the tile and score a grout line in there with the wet sub, and then I stick it up. It's all one piece. It's easy for me to deal with, but it still has a grout line. I showed you that in another video. This one here, we're going to do the total opposite, so we're not going to have to worry about that. So the biggest thing is now, I guess, is getting the mortar on the wall and getting going. So this is the trick, which will help. You can do this multiple ways. You can use your vise or your clamps. I don't have my clamps with me, so I'm not going to use the clamps. But if you don't have your clamps, this is the way you can do it. Is you spin your clamps backwards, so they, instead of vicing the piece together, you can have them protracting the piece apart. Retracting the piece apart. So anyway, so that's that. I'm just going to put a little mortar on here, just make it a little easier for me to deal with. Now, it's quite a high humidity out there in the last few days. It's summertime now. So I mix my mortar a little bit more soupy. The reason why I do that is it allows me a little more time to get the tiles up. So if I take time and I have an issue that I can't control, and it takes me a bit to fix it, I don't have to worry about my mortar sitting there drying up in the bucket. The other thing is I don't mix a full bag at a time. In the winter time I can do that no problem, easily. In the summertime you can do that too if you're really quick. On the floor sometimes, but on the wall, in the shower, I would recommend that you wouldn't mix it more than a half a bag at a time. You can do what you want. Some people think they're good enough that they can do that, and that's fine. I can do it some days, but some days the temperature is not right, so it's hard for me to continue to keep the mortar so it wants to stick like that to my finger. So, not that I can't use it, I'm just saying I don't want to play with it a bunch. So, that's the way I deal with it. Now I've got my piece cut here for the niche. And I'm just going to put it into place. I'm going to back butter the tile. Now the other side of this is, if your tile mortar is a little bit on the thick side, plays to your advantage too sometimes for this method. We're not going to deal with that, but sometimes it'll play to your advantage. And the reason why it'll do that is because when it's heavier, it'll stick and hold on, and it won't sag as fast. So, a couple different methods there. Now I've got this figured out that I have a 6-inch piece at the bottom of the niche, and I want exactly the same thing at the top of the niche. So that's what I did. I cut a 6-inch piece. Now, that's going to want to sag on me, so I have some scrap pieces of Kerdi board. And what I'm going to do there, I just cut them just a little slightly wider or taller than I need it by 1/4 inch. So I can ramp on the edge. And then do the same thing on this side. And then now that allows me to do what I need to do. I can adjust that up, pick it up higher, whatever I need to do, whatever I want to do, I can now do it. And I'll just leave those in place. But for now, I'm not done inside the niche, because I have the piece cut for inside the niche. How do I do that? I already had it cut, because as soon as I cut that one in half, it already played in effect for the back one. Didn't have to recut it. It's just the remainder of the piece slides right in there. It's not any harder than, easier than that. It's not any harder than that. That's what it is. Slap it in there, same as I did this one, that one. One thing is, I had to make sure that the height was to the right, so I keep this grout line continuous to make sure that these black tiles are straight into the tile, into the niche, and then back out, and then around the whole entire perimeter of the shower. So we have to make sure that that is the right. So once that bottom piece is set there right, that's why I left that set overnight. I braced it already. I could have continued on yesterday, but I didn't have this piece cut, so I didn't put it in there. I'm gonna do it now. No, not a big deal. Now I'm not gonna try to back butter inside there. I don't need to make a mess. It's not crucial. I already know that my mortar's wet enough, it's going to stick to that Kerdi board. And I also know that I'm not as worried about trying to keep it level in there. In a sense, I'm not. There's no set plane. So as long as it's straight, and as long as it's set so it's straight, so that the reveal on both sides is straight, then really you have no issues. So if I keep that like 5 1/4 in, then it's going to be 5 1/4 out. It cut 5 1/4 straight up, so I don't have to worry about cutting a wedge in that reveal over there. Or build out, whatever you want to call it, like a window box. I'm going to move my piece here for a minute and set this one in place. Now, I've already got that set up nicely. I put a couple spacers in there, and everything there looks tickety-boo. We're off to the races. So now my issue is, let's get this right. So let's make sure that this is straight, so we're going to. I've got my 2 pieces of Kerdi board sitting there. I'm going to make sure that this piece is flush to that piece. I'm going to go forward with that. Now I'm going to set my spacers in. And this tile is only going to go halfway over that one. Not going to be a big deal. it's best that it does it that way. It keeps it from wanting to push this down as much. The good thing about these level clips is that you wedge them, and when you wedge them, it puts pressure on it, so it actually holds it like a hand. That'll also help hold it from wanting to do this. So, you're asking yourself, why did I not put a level on that yet? Don't worry about it. I'm not there yet. I will have lots of time. Back butter your tile. Don't do what I just did. Use a hammer, not your hand. Not a hammer, neither. A rubber maul hammer is what I mean when I say hammer. Now, how do I know I got that straight? Well, I'll tell you what, I can tell you almost that I almost have it straight just by looking at it. This grout line is exactly what it should be. This grout line looks to be the same all the way across, not looking like the wedge of any sight. And this is straight out here still, so I think that I'm almost right there. I'm double checking. It's dead on with that level. So, that is the key of why you need to start out level down there. If you start out level down here, you can do anything off of measurement once you get past that. And once everything is, the measurements are all the same, so if you're 6 inches and 6 inches, you're not 6 1/8, you're not 6 1/4, you're not 6 on one end and 6 on the other end, you're 6 and 6. Bang on. How easy is that to set it out in the salt that's already set at 90 degrees from its cut on this sliding table to keep that true measurement. Just like that. Not that hard. Does all work for you. Because you did your work ahead of time, and that was keeping that level at the bottom. And I kept it level because I built the base from nothing. So I built the base with a dry mix mortar bed is what this one is. It's customized base because of what it is. This is a different base than I've ever built before. It actually comes out and has a flat spot in it because this is an entrance that is a continuation of the floor. The shower actually starts here. It just looks like it starts over here. A figment of your imagination. But I waterproofed it, make sure it's good, just in case water does happen to lay there. Actually, the last one I did was kind of the same way. It had a 5-foot glass, and then the shower base was 4 feet. But just the grout line worked out that it was back, so I kept the floor behind the glass to make it straight. But anyway, that was the one we did before. This one, the customer's very happy. Give me a nice recommendation. Very good people to work for, like all my customers. So, very happy. They're very happy, and all their family was very happy about it, and all their friends seem to be very happy about it. So, I guess I did my job. All right, so now I'm going to leave those wedges in there. They're going to hold this up. Don't touch it. Don't knock it. But I'm going to put this piece in on this side, and when I put it in, I'm going to double check to make sure that this stayed the same. Really and truly, if I did my job properly, that corner should be exactly the top of that tile. Now there's quite a crooked, quite a spot in this wall. It's quite crooked. It's got quite a wave right here at the corner. So I'm almost like back there. I had to back butter the tile with a flat. So this, between this and this, there's pretty near a 1/4 inch dip there. There's one stud that's dipped in. Probably that one, or maybe that one. Probably that one. That's the one that pushes it out. But anyway, I deal with that with the mortar. I do not want crooked walls. We just had a conversation between me and the customer about a jolly that's sitting off the wall a little bit, but it's not. It's tight to the bottom and tight to the top. The wall has a bow in the center. We're going to continue on with a level tile because the level tile is more important than the bow in the wall. Tiles forever, the wall can be fixed. Come up with a solution, and it seems like it's going to be a sold item, so I think we're going to be all right. Okay. Make sure when you're putting this together that you have your factory edge against your factory edge. Now I'm going to install those wedges. Now, with this tile installed, this is all installed here. I am going to check it for level. I have a piece of mortar on my straight edge. You have to be careful of that. If you have a piece of mortar on your straight edge, it'll hold you out. And if you're not careful, you could use that straight edge with a piece of mortar on it all day. Next thing you know, your wall's crooked and you wonder why. Well, it's because your straight edge isn't straight anymore. So just make sure that you keep that straight plane that you're using for your flat spot clean. see me, I pulled that out a little bit. And the reason why I pulled that out because I shoved it in a little too far. Why did I shove it in a little too far? Because I didn't have enough mortar behind it. I did, but I didn't. I shoved it in because there's a dip in the wall and I went in too far. So now I had to pull it back. It'll be fine. Guaranteed if I pulled that tile off where I back buttered it with the tile with the grooves on the trowel on both sides stuck together, there's not going to be no issues with not enough mortar behind that, guaranteed. That mortar will stretch a bit and harden. So I didn't pull it out like a mile, I just pulled it out like a quarter mile, maybe an eighth of an inch. So I just want to continue to keep that straight edge, the straight line straight all the way up the wall. I want to be able to put that 6 foot level right here. I want to be able to take that 6 foot level, but it's not bent. There's no pressure. No pressure. I want to be able to set it there. And I want that to be just what that is. No gap. Whole 6 feet. So the height of me, I know for a fact, is as straight as it can be. So, same as this wall. Perfect. Dead on, smoking on. Even on an angle. And this one here will be the same. I'm not ready there yet, so that's it for that. So anyway, so now I'm going to continue on, put a full tile up, which I don't have any tile. I have to go get some, and I'll be right back. We're back. So back here with the tile, and I'm going to set up a couple spacers here. Tile was just in the other room, so it's not a big deal. Pretty handy to get. Just on the other side of the door that you're actually on right now. Got you hung to a door. Back buttered that tile with the grooves on it because there's a crookedness in the wall, and that'll compensate for it. Grooves are on the wall as well. Again, that's going to go back up to nothing. When I get up to the top of that wall, I already gauged it out. The top of the wall comes in a little bit, and it's to do with the filler, obviously. So anyway, they built down a little bit, or built out a little bit more than they had to, I would say. It's not a big deal. Our issue is to make sure that we can go around it. So. Making sure that my tiles are all down tight to each other. Just make sure that these grout lines are continuous. Grabbing a few more wedges. And I'm going to check that tile to make sure it's at the same plane as my last one, because we need to make sure that the wall stays straight. Everything there is straight. The other thing is, that's a 7-foot wall, and I can take that level at 7 feet, 6 feet, and I can look, shoot it down, and it's 6 feet with no gap. It's dead on. So that's a quality you need to look for in a tile job. So it's good there. So now, my next piece, my last piece. And then I'm going to shut the video off. My next piece I'm going to cut with my snap cutter. And how I do them, I'm not going to take the measuring tape out to do that. I'm just going to take and butt it up against the wall and leave myself an extra 1/8, pop the inside of that spacer, so it's extra 1/8 short. Marked it on the tile, set it on my snap cutter that I have here on the floor. Run it backwards for the first 1/4 inch, and if you do that, it helps you, because sometimes it'll snap, and they'll want to snap at the tip, and they'll leave a little bit of a wing. Stop that. Perfect. Every time. Now, because of the crookedness of the wall, I back buttered that with the notches out. So the notches are out. Notches are out on the wall. That'll give me a build out. Just in this area. That'll keep everything nice and square. And where was my cut? That side. That's it. On that. Now, just set these into place. Check that tile. And it's still going good. Check the diagonal if you want to, and that's probably your best way, because if you know you got 3 tiles involved and they're all flat to your straight edge, you know you've probably got it with no issues. So and I've got 4 tile there. Just gonna give that just a little love tap. Good to go. Okay, so now you just see me set up the niche, the top of it, and how I hold the tile. And then it really isn't that big of a deal. It's pretty simple, basic, really. Without all the fancy tools, you don't need the fancy tools. Fancy tools are for fools. If you actually know your trade, you can do it. If you're skilled, you can do things without all the fancy tools. I don't care who you are. If you're skilled enough, you can do things freehand and you come up with the same thing. It does take longer, but if you're skilled, you will still have the exact same product at the end without the fancy tools as you will have with the fancy tools. In some cases. Now there is issues that do involve some fancy tools when you get into the high, but we're not into the real high end or trying to cut a piece of quartz countertop or anything like that. So But with this shower stuff, you don't really need all the fancy tools you see on YouTube. So I've been doing it for 25 years, and I can tell you I have those tools and I do not use them. Why? Because it's a pain in my bum to come and bring them out of the truck every time, put them back in the truck every time when I don't need them. I can do this with a handful of tools. A grinder with a diamond tip wheel, a snap cutter, a wet saw. I do use a hole saw, just that one. It's a 1-inch hole saw for the, or 1 1/4 inch hole saw. That's what I use for that, for the shower heads. These shower valves, lots of times I do them freehand. You can buy a hole saw for that, but I'm not gonna. There's no point. I have the grinder anyway. It does the exact same thing. You've got to be careful. So you can get into chippage with the grinder. So that's, weigh out your pros and cons. You need a shop vac. Shop vac's #1 tool in every project. You need a way to clean up your mess. Doesn't hurt to have a little bit of muriatic acid out in, or tile, something to clean mortar off tile if it gets hardened. That'll help you. If it's set only for a day, water usually works just as fine. But to clean up real nice and keep it from smudging, I use muriatic acid. And you gotta be careful. You mix that outdoors, and it makes it very, very, very light. I've been in cases where I mixed muriatic acid in a home and it tarnished the light fixture above us. So just from vapors. Wear a mask, ventilator, and wear safety goggles and gloves. And when you're done, discard those items. You don't want to touch them. You don't want them to get your skin. It's acid. Clean up your mask, obviously, if you have a respirator, and then put it away. Come back another time and put new gloves on and things like that. So just be careful with that kind of stuff. But mostly, if you do your job right, you can. If your mortar's not setting forever, you can clean it up. So, and make sure you always clean your job before you leave, and make sure you leave that the house is the same or better than what it was when you left it, when you got here. So that's it. There, back on, and I've got the top ready for cut. So that wall's ready for cut top, and that wall's ready for cut top. This wall here, I'm ready for to get to this stage. I'm at the top of the border. Set you around, there you go. I'm at the top of the border over there, and I'll go up the 3 rows until I get to the cuts, and then I'll continue on. So that's the end of this video. I'll make another one at the very end when I'm ready to get ready for the finish, like to show you the finishing product. Maybe one on the niche on the inside, and that'll be it for the build. And then I'll do a cleanup. The cleanup's basic. Wash it with water and a sponge. It's kind of boring to watch. I could give you an overrun of that, but really there's not much to see outside of, if you know how to clean your house, you know how to clean tile. It's pretty basic. Anyway, and then we have the growth stage, and the growth stage will be tomorrow. And once the growth stage is done, then I'll come back and I'll seal it all up with the silicone. And then I will install the fixtures. The fixtures will have to go on. And then after that, and a grab bar, and after that the glass will be installed by a glass company, won't be me. Glass guys are good for that. Glass companies are good for that, so we'll leave that to them. And then that'll be it. I'll hand this one over to the homeowner hopefully after tomorrow, but we'll see how it goes. If not, it'll be early Friday morning. So, cheers.